Industry events. Everyone who's anyone is there. All the big names in your space. Star-studded speakers and ICP attendees. Or at least that's how they're pitched. But are they really worth it for your agency? Especially if you're just starting out and funds are tight. Or are industry events just a rip-off? Welcome back to the fatjoe Agency Academy. Over a decade of agency experience dedicated to helping you build a better agency. Are industry events, conferences and meetups worth it? We'll cover this from 3 perspectives: attending, exhibiting, and, for the really ambitious, running your own event. Don't waste your money on SEO and marketing conferences. Follow these tips instead. Attending a conference. First off, for the fledgling agency, we've got simply attending a conference. This is obviously the cheapest way to interact with an industry meet, although even this can get quite pricey. Anywhere up to maybe $1,000 or even more for a ticket, especially as you fly up those VIP tracks. On the face of it, it's surely worth it. A couple of $100 and you get all this amazing knowledge from leading speakers. It's just gotta be great value, right? Well, not necessarily. With the absolute explosion of personal brand, this means that more SEO and marketing practitioners than ever before are putting their content out online directly for you to access through LinkedIn, YouTube and the like. That's not to say that there can't be hidden gems in speakers at conferences, and they are a great way to broaden your horizons to those that you don't already follow online, but being realistic, the chances that you'll find something brand new and truly groundbreaking from a speaker are, well, they're less than they'd have been maybe 10 or even 5 years ago at least. So just attending a conference is worthless then. Not if you embrace the real value of conference attendance: networking. I know it's maybe cliche and it's definitely not appealing to quite a large subset of people, but I'm afraid it's also vital. This isn't just about customer acquisition either. No one likes the guy who's only there to sell. But if you're at the right conference, you're gonna find people just like you. People fighting the same business battles, who can become soundboards for the same struggles that you're facing in your agency. Sure, you might actually pick up a customer or two, but what's much better is to build your network. Again, it's corny, I know, but it's also a cornerstone of getting your agency out there. That network won't just help you build a better business through tips and tricks. They might also actually become your first referees when they send potential customers your way, just as you'd send potential customers their way if you don't have quite the right services that they're after. Again, it's cliche, but there's really no replacement for that face-to-face time and building out that network. If you're wondering where to attend first, we've got a few tips based on what we've learned attending hundreds of conferences over 10+ years. Start local. Conferences doesn't have to mean a Brighton SEO with thousands of attendees. A local marketing meet is a great place to start and build up slowly without the competition and the chaos. Go niche. Again, likely a little bit smaller than a generalist conference. You could pick a niche conference on one very specific aspect of marketing or one very specific client niche. That added focus will help sharpen the conversations that you have and give you built-in confidence that you know exactly what they're there for. Switch things up. You don't just have to network on the conference floor. Get along to pre- or post-conference events. Having attended a few like Brighton or SEO Estonia, there can be great non-industry side events like beach cleanups, yoga or bar crawls, all of which help break the ice and start building that network. Sponsoring or exhibiting at a conference. Okay, so you're a bit more of a veteran here. You've got a few conferences under your belt and you're ready to start exhibiting or maybe even sponsoring an event. Hold your horses. This is a great step, but it's one that can be easy to mess up, as we've done ourselves before, quite a few times to be honest. Find your fit. This is one that we have messed up before. As simple as it might seem, just picking an SEO conference might not actually be enough. In 2025, we decided to exhibit at SMX Munich. We wanted to dip our toes into the German market, and we thought that this would be a great place to start. But we didn't do our research. When we visited other countries, they've been open to our primarily, though not exclusively, US and UK based link building, but not Germany. I'm tarring with a bit of a general brush here, but attendees were only really interested in German, maybe DACH links. And on links, they weren't even actually that keen on link building to start with. They had a very different view to our typical UK or US market. Sure, we learned a lot by being there, but we also burnt some budget. And it's a lesson that we could have learned cheaper by doing more research first, or maybe even just attending without a booth first. A pro tip that we've developed is spotting certain speakers that we think align quite well with what we offer and who speak to our specific ideal customer profile. We then track these speakers. They often show up on the circuit quite a bit. And if we notice a few of them together or several topics directly related to what we offer, it's a good bet our own stand would go down well there and we'd get some good conversations going. Don't get upsold. Sorry, I'm about to be unpopular with conference organisers here, but don't fall for their upsells. At least not for your first few times. Just get some presence there. A small booth, a backdrop, and an iPad can still convert if you nail your messaging, having picked the right crowd. Sure, those flashier booths, the premium packages, they're all great down the line, and they really serve to build your credibility. But early doors, just being there and having a booth at all is credibility enough. Presence without presence isn't enough. Tempted to sack off the travel and hotel budget and sponsor a few conferences without physically being there? Maybe a pre-talk logo and a few banners. Don't. Without some supporting presence and ability to follow up with people on the ground, realistically, your brand just isn't going to have sticking power from just having your name there. Like having a booth, sponsoring, it's a great credibility builder, but you want to be able to follow up on it there and then to see the impact that it's having, to build it into the conversations that you have. Events, they're a tricky one to track ROI from. Don't make it harder for yourself by sponsoring blind and just hoping that attendees will build an idea of your brand from a name and a logo alone. The only caveat here is if you're going big, very big. If your name is everywhere, at every major industry event, then sure, that's building repeat brand power. But if you're at that stage, you're not watching this video. Another pro tip before we move on is how to think about events. It might seem a little odd, but we see them as a compounding channel, not a one-off. As we've stepped into doing more and more events, we've seen the value of repeat attendance, either at the same event or at multiple related events. Attendees really start to build an idea of who you are, what you offer, and the staying power of your brand. Take us with our business model, for example. We're an outsourced solution for businesses that need to know that we're going to be around for the long haul if they're ever going to build full processes designed specifically around reselling our products. If they see us year in, year out at events, it builds a pretty good rep that we're sticking around and that we mean business. Going back to events being compounding, one way to look at them is collectively. Unless you have a real anomaly of poor performance or a really bad fit, try looking at your events in a year together. It'll help you judge how events as a whole have done for you. Events individually, they can be quite volatile, and there is some luck of the draw on who you happen to speak to on that particular day. But if you take a wider snapshot, you'll see what that repeat association is doing for your brand. Running your own event. Finally, we come to running your own event. In 2025, we ran fatjoe, our first ever event. And even with about 80 attendees, it was eye-opening. We're running it back again this year, but for a brand doing their own event on the side, rather than building a business based on events, it really was quite eye-opening on the real ROI of running an event, not really being ROI. What do I mean by that? Well, it sort of loops back to the first scenario of attending events yourself and building that network. Ultimately, the key output of running your own event is the networking that it allows for attendees and that it allows you to build. When we designed fatjoe, a solid half of the listed runtime was dedicated to the rooftop bar after the talks. Bit of a flex? Maybe. But it also provided a prime time to just network for both us and attendees. Our CEO, Joe, spoke to other CEOs and exchanged advice, wins and losses. Staff could find other attendees with similar jobs and experience and network too. The networking wasn't the only win, of course. It's helped us start building that next level of credibility in the industry, but it was the most notable return. You can actually do a little of the podcasting trick with your invites. Stealing from the podcast playlist here, where you basically just invite your ideal customer on as a guest. But as I said before, no one likes the guy who's just there to sell. If you've advanced to start putting on your first event, just bear in mind that you're unlikely to see a direct revenue return. The investment that you're making here compounds in relationships, not just revenue. And there you have it, our top tips on every stage of industry events, attending, sponsoring, and ultimately running your own. But what do you think? Is it worth it to attend events, or is it all a rip-off and it's better to just stick the money in an ever-expanding Google Ads campaign instead? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're there, like and subscribe to the Fat Joe Agency Academy, helping you build a better agency.